Good evening, and the fallout continues tonight from the release of the so-called CIA torture report that all the world has now been allowed to see. Tonight, 6 different U.S. embassies overseas have issued security advisories in case of a violent response to what's detailed in that report. Last night on this broadcast, we heard the CIA director under President Bush strongly defend the program. Tonight, one of the psychologists who's been called the architect of the CIA interrogation program and a man who profited financially from it is speaking out and defending the brutal interrogation techniques used on prisoners and detailed in the report. We begin here again tonight with our chief foreign affairs correspondent, Andrea Mitchell, in our D.C. newsroom. Andrea, good evening.
Good evening, Brian. Indeed, tonight, more fallout from that Senate torture report as CIA leaders try to restore morale at the agency. And one of the architects of the harsh interrogation techniques came out of the shadows.
The American people ought to know that.
James Mitchell, one of 2 psychologists who came up with the torture techniques today in Florida.
It's not always pretty. And I think that there should be an honest debate in the United States.
Do you sleep comfortably at night?
I always sleep comfortably.
The report says Mitchell and his partner Bruce Jessen had no training in al-Qaeda, its language, or how to interrogate. Vice News asked him if waterboarding is torture.
I don't think it's the right thing to do. I don't think it's the wrong thing to do. I think you can do it in a way that it constitutes torture. I think you can do it in a way that it constitutes training. I think you can do it in a way that it helps a person shift their priorities so that they experience less abuse later on. It's like every tool in the tool bag. You can underuse it, you can overuse it.
They were paid $80 million to interrogate prisoners at secret prisons, black sites in Poland, Lithuania, Romania, Afghanistan, and Thailand. Former Vice President Dick Cheney says the interrogations paid off big time.
We ask the agency to go take steps and put in place programs that were designed to catch the bastards who killed 3,000 of us on 9/11 and to make sure it didn't happen again, and that's exactly what they did.
Their biggest success, the CIA says, the takedown of Osama bin Laden. The agency even helped the producers of the film Zero Dark 30 dramatize how they say waterboarding helped identify bin Laden's courier, whom they then followed to his hideaway. But the Senate report says the vast majority of the intelligence was originally acquired from sources unrelated to the CIA's detention and interrogation program. And the best information came from an al-Qaeda operative named Hassan Ghul, who a CIA officer said sang like a Tweety bird before being tortured. He was then hanged in a stressed position and subjected to 59 hours of sleep deprivation. The report says he began hallucinating and never provided further threat information. Dana Priest, who won a Pulitzer Prize for uncovering the secret prisons in 2005, was surprised by the report's new details.
There was more systematic abuse that just actually seems more sadistic than it does any kind of technique to extract information.
CIA critics on the Intelligence Committee say the agency is still not coming clean.
The CIA is lying. This is not a problem of the past, Madam President, but a problem that needs to be dealt with.
At the CIA, morale is shattered.
These folks having the rug pulled out from under them, people who thought they were doing what we wanted them to do, that's unprecedented.
Officials say that CIA Director John Brennan spoke to the workforce today, many of them newcomers hired since the interrogation program ended, trying to, quote, pick people up off the ground. Brennan will make his first public comments about the Senate report tomorrow at CIA headquarters. Brian?
From our D.C. newsroom, Andrea Mitchell starting us off again tonight, and it goes on, Andrea.